Greetings and welcome to Friday Night Live. Here we are on a wonderful All Hallows Eve 2025. We are so very pleased that you have joined us here at the feast table to enjoy an absolute cornucopia of page revelry, information, and just flat out All Hallows Eve debauchery. With me, as always, is our good friends, Ed, or shall I say, the Mystery Red Wizard. And Ron. And Ron.
For those of you who haven't figured this out yet, Phil had a little bit of Halloween. Halloween, yep. Joy today.
Yes, Halloween on a Friday only comes every 6 years. So here we are. Yeah, I went out to dinner with my wife at the Italian restaurant around the corner, and I had a couple glasses of wine. But it's Friday, and it's Halloween, and here we are, enjoying a wonderful time together. We're going to talk all things Page this evening, folks. Hopefully you are having a wonderful Halloween yourselves out there in internet land, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, if I am misspoken or mistaken, we have now officially hit over 500 subscribers to the channel.
That is correct. Yes.
Yes. So I think that is a milestone to celebrate. So we thank everyone out there that has taken the time to subscribe to the channel. We started this whole thing back in, I guess it was March, and we are now sitting at 501 to be precise. And so we would ask you to continue to share and spread that out. Let people know that we're here every Friday night leading up to the convention, where someone can come in, they can hear a great conversation from a special guest or two, and what they're working on and what they're going to be bringing to the convention. And then we, of course, give you some updates about what's actually happening at Page from the last week or so, if you haven't been paying that close of attention to our posts on social media, so that you can go to a one-stop shop situation and find out all of the things that are happening. And again, tomorrow is November 1st. And we are getting ever closer and closer and closer to the convention. There's a lot of things that are coming together as we are firming up our commitments from our special guests and what have you, and getting all of that operational stuff taken care of behind the scenes, so that you have a fantastic convention as a con goer, as a guest of ours. We are more than happy to do that hard work for you, so that you can have a fantastic time January 15th to the 18th, of course, at Page 3. All right.
So for those of you who are wondering where our normal co-host, Jenn, the blind bard, is, I think we're going to have an intervention. Similar to what we're going to have to do with Phil after this night, because Jen's out hitting it pretty hard again, so we have to be a little, we're going to have to do an intervention there.
I'm concerned.
Very, very worried. So Phil, you want to introduce our first guest?
Our first guest or our only guest this evening? I think we only have one. Oh, no. Our guest.
Mm-hmm.
Our guest.
Good.
So,
do you know what day it is?
I think it's Friday, the 31st of October, All Hallows Eve, 2025. Am I wrong?
Okay. Well, I'll bring the first guest on. All right.
All right. You bring the first guest on. Dimitri.
Oh, thanks, folks.
Welcome.
Welcome to Dimitri Del Castillo. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. Yeah, business was pretty slow at my house. Only got about 12 or maybe 15 trick-or-treaters.
I heard you were giving out potatoes. That's why.
Well,
You can
it's
make
all I can
vodka out of
afford these
those.
days.
Well, that's the problem. That's what Phil's been doing tonight.
I think they were a problem with my costume. They couldn't figure out who I was. I'm basically, what if Ward Cleaver was an airship captain?
I
mean, who wouldn't have gotten that?
Yeah, it's obvious. Yeah.
Nah. Kids these days.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dimitri, for the our viewers that don't know you, you're very active on the national convention scene. Why don't you give them a little insight to who you are and the type of work you do in the industry?
Who am I and what makes me famous? Yeah, I am a 20-something year veteran of the video game industry. I've worked on titles like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 1. I've worked on Burning Crusade, Lich King, Cataclysm. I also developed for tabletop role-playing games. I'm very closely affiliated with Chaosium. I'm developing a few projects right now for them currently. And I have several other kinds of things in the works. You'll be hearing about them soon. Going to come to page 3 this next year, so look out, folks. Looking forward to seeing all you happy faces and getting crazy with you. I'm going to be running 4 events, so please sign up.
It's great. What are you running?
Call of Cthulhu.
Mm.
And they're original adventures that I am compiling into a source book that is going to be centered around the United States and Mexico border. And all the scenarios are picked from particular times, critical times in history. And they put the players in some pretty crazy positions. I've been playing testing them for the last 2-3 years now. And the response that I'm getting is absolutely wild and very, very good.
Now, Dimitri, I'm talking to you. You said a lot of the lore that is related to some of the stuff you're developing, comes from your background, comes from your grandparents and things like that.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little more about that?
Certainly. Yeah. A lot of the stories are based. A lot of the stories that I'm basing my scenarios off of are stories that were told to me from my grandmother and my grandfather, who spent a lot of time on the border. My grandfather was from Texas originally, and he did a lot of crossing back and forth for his business and construction and stuff. So he has a lot of wacky tales about monsters and ghosts and all sorts of weird supernatural stuff. So I picked a few of the stories, and I picked some historical contexts, and then kind of fictionalized some areas where I needed to fictionalize things so that people don't get sensitive about what I'm talking about, and just made some great, very tense but colorful scenarios for Call of Cthulhu, ranging from 1919. One of them is centered in during the Mexican Revolution in 1919. One of them is happens during the end of Prohibition around 1932, and another one happens in 1960. That's the one that I'm currently developing and will be running twice at Page, because I'm going to be furiously playtesting that one for effect.
Well, Dimitri, I was just looking at the tabletop events site, and Ron posted a link where people can find your Call of Cthulhu games, because amazingly, there's still a few seats available. There's about to be one less if I check my schedule, because I'm going to jump into one of those.
Brilliant.
I love Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, I've only gotten to run it for the last several years. I haven't gotten a chance. I haven't played it in in decades, I'm always ending up being the keeper. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking forward to
No, I'm well aware of that syndrome, and
yeah.
and it's like, okay, I grew up with 2 professors in my family, so I had a lot of academic knowledge already at the time I started to play Call of Cthulhu back when I was 16, and so people were just like, well, you're so good at like picking out stuff from history, why don't you just be the all-time GM? So yeah, that sort of fell to my position. Later, when I started to do conventions a lot, I started playing in Call of Cthulhu games, and there's really no preference now. I love playing, but I love GMing because the way I GM, when I'm running a scenario that I created, I'm teaching while I'm running a game. I'm instructing people about the period that they're in. I'm giving them all sorts of weird cultural hooks and cues that they've never seen before, and there's a little bit of everybody learns a little bit when they come out of it. So that's always been my intent, and it's really my wheelhouse when it comes down to it, because I GM a lot of other stuff, but when it comes down to it, Call of Cthulhu is the thing that I really enjoy the most.
One of the you were talking about teaching. I've always been very interested in historical fiction and things like that, and history in general. I was very excited when the Pulp Cthulhu came out, because that deals with a time period that, oddly enough, a lot of my friends who are also in history were not really well versed in. So we got to play around with a lot of that, post World War I, pre-World War II era.
Yeah.
What era is your adventure that you're working on set in?
Okay, so it's set in the 60s. And it's a very it's since it's all these things happen on the border, so this is going to be in probably southeastern Arizona, and it's based in a very small town, and the premise is there's a lot of weird little things happening, and the characters who the pre-gens are six very, very highly elevated kind of sorcerer characters. So it's a completely different take on Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's very different. I mean, that's one of the things I liked about Pulp, is you actually had a little bit of power, but this is interesting. So you're actually able to use magic?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not like
These guys are like, let's say, like, if we're playing D&D, these are like 12th level wizards.
Wow. That's a different experience for Call of Cthulhu.
Right.
Without any spoilers, can you tell anything about what they're going up against?
Well, yeah.
I don't want to spoil your game.
In the little précis of the scenario, it says, that there are disturbances happening from this small little village that are reaching out all the way to this, this eternal god that is as big as a solar system. Obviously, I'm talking about Azathoth, right? So,
right.
So
obviously,
right. So Azathoth is basically watching the comings and goings of these people in this little village, and it's like he's watching television, right? And he's becoming really kind of attached to what's happened to these people, and he's not getting a good rest. And when Azathoth doesn't get good rest, bad things happen in the universe. Calamities, universal calamities. Magnetars will appear. Giant super black holes will appear. So he's potentially the end of the cosmos itself could happen from the goings of this little tiny village. So these people show up because they're high-powered, functional, magic wielding people. And they try to take care of the problem. They're kind of like technicians. I mean, really, it's kind of like a bunch of dudes showing up when a line goes down out in the countryside. These are guys who come out there and bring.
they're the universe's IT crowd.
Right,
you know?
right. I mean, that's ultimately.
Have you tried turning the universe off and back on again?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, have you tried turning? Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Now, Dimitri, I will tell you that one of your biggest fans, as a surprise, we're going to bring one of your biggest fans onto the program tonight.
Good grief!
Are you ready for this?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I am waiting and ready. Bated breath. Well, hello, Chet.
Hey, Dimitri, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing
All right,
great, man. How you doing, brother?
All right, man.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. I see Phil has taken Jen's spot as the drunk on the show.
Oh, look at
Getting,
that.
lit.
What a physique.
Oh my God!
It was a chest day this week. It was,
Oh my God!
I think I missed that for the last 5 years.
yeah.
Phil, before you start tooting your own horn, your chest would make a good barbecue restaurant
Yeah.
because there's a lot of chicken and ribs there.
Oh,
Hey. There's a joke I want to say, but we'll probably get demonetized.
There's a joke you want to say, but your brain's just not working right now, right?
No, it's working just fine. I just, I'll just have to wait till we're in private. But Chet, thanks for joining us this evening.
yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
I had to put the mask back on so you get the full thing.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah.
had to put the cloak on. It's hot.
Did you get a lot of trick or treaters in your neighborhood this evening?
So I live on a dead end road. At the end of the road, there's only like 8 houses on my road, and we almost never get trick or treaters. We used to get the neighbors' kids across the street would run over, grab some candy, and then they hop in the minivan and go wherever their trunk or treat kind of festivities are and everything. Today, I had 6 different groups of trick-or-treaters, and I had to take the chocolate that we have in the refrigerator and hand that out. I wasn't prepared. I was like, nobody's coming. So,
And then beating down your door.
The porch light would have gone out after the first group in my house.
I didn't even have the lights on outside, so I ended up turning those on so nobody would fall and then sue the hell out of me. What I should have done is handed out D20s and things like that. Hand out dice.
That's a great idea.
Indoctrinate the kids early.
There you go. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, I wish I had more page dice. I could have been advertising.
Yeah.
We have lots of page dice.
Yeah. I don't, though. I got one set, and then he sent me an invoice for them.
You just put that on your toilet paper roll.
I get home from a con, and there's an invoice in my inbox. I'm like, really? What? Thanks, Ron.
Yeah. Look at that feigned shock. See that feigned shock.
Don't you believe it?
Yeah.
Then he charged me for booth babe duties. Apparently, I was supposed to pay him.
Yeah, it's a union gig these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's a union boss, so it's got to unionize all the booth babes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We take a lot of abuse. So that's when people unionize when management doesn't appreciate them.
There you go.
Yeah. Ron at Game Hole, he would come over, and anybody who was sitting next to me, he'd come in, get up, get out of that seat. I got to sit down.
That's true.
Frank Menser, he's like, get out of that seat. I got to sit down.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I kicked Jeff out like 5 times. Jeff, get up.
Well, he needed to circulate. I can only hear so many landscaping stories. So.
Oh my God.
Well, I fear for Frank, because I don't want his blood pooling in his feet. So yeah, it's good to get him moving around.
Yeah. That's Dimitri. Have you ever met Frank?
Oh gosh, We were talking last year at Matt Forbeck's Christmas party
Oh, okay.
about publishing some of his unpublished material. Apparently, he's got tens of thousands of unpublished papers.
That's right. You're a Wisconsin guy. I forgot.
Yeah. I'm in Madison. So I was like, so I asked him. I said, "Listen, Frank, and this is on the record. This is all above board." I said, "Frank, there's no way I could possibly go through tens of thousands of pages.
Then Jamie Lawrence threw up his hand and said, I'll do it. Frank, pick me.
I'm not throwing any shade in anyone's direction.
I'm not throwing any shade. I'm just,
I said to him,
this is a serious news program.
Would you mind if I sent this stuff through AI to kind of parse out? And he was just like flatly against it. And I said, I understand why, but outside of Jamie, there's very few people who would take this job, especially without a gob of cash up front. So, there's not much I can do for you. I mean, I want to preserve the guy's legacy, and I've shopped him around, and he's a tough sell, I'll tell you. But
we have a few comments from the crowd here. Jennifer the Blind Bard says, "Don't worry, I'm taking back my spot as the show's drunk next week." And Elise Patson says, "We had 300 plus kids." Okay, first of all, tell your husband Phil to stay off you if you have 300 kids. He needs to stay off you.
Irish twins.
That's one. And two, there is birth control available.
Hey, there are Catholic people out here in the audience.
I don't know. I'm just listen. I just call it like I say it.
Usually, our professions are good enough birth control.
We had 300 kids. There were different times. Those were different times. You needed extra hands on the farm, right?
I did. Well, listen. I was a commercial fisherman for. Owned a commercial fishing boat the whole bit. There were times I was like, now I know why people have kids. When the deckhand shows up all filled up, I'll call it filled out, and he can't stand up on the boat. I'm going, I wish I had kids.
I'm sorry, Captain. It was a chest day.
Music. Hey, look at me. It was a chest day. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. You gotta get fit.
Oh yeah, and you know what they say about Guinness? There's eating or not.
Yeah,
Guinness for strength.
Exactly.
Guinness for strength.
So Elise has clarified to say she had 300 trick-or-treaters. I'm glad for the clarification, Elise. It's very good. That's very good. That's good to know.
That's a lot.
I was a little concerned.
Yeah, the mental image was something.
Yeah. It was pretty mild. The weather where I am, it was a very blustery, gusty day, but then it kind of leveled off and really wasn't that cold. So there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood.
Where are you broadcasting from, Phil?
I'm in Eastern Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I spent a little time out there.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
I worked on a movie called Gettysburg. And
I've heard of that movie. Yeah.
And I have a lot of great stories about it, but
that was about 407 years ago, right?
Well, yeah, I'm 4 and at least 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, a guy I used to work with was an extra on that movie.
Oh, okay.
He was a Confederate extra. Yeah.
Yeah, I was somehow I got roped into the Confederate Klan as well. So I don't know. I wanted to get my SAG card. The only way you can get your SAG card is if you get an acting job. But the only way you can get an acting job is if you have a SAG card. Now, Ron, you being the union guy, explain that to me.
You weren't paying the right person.
Well, I ended up getting it because they get this thing called a Taft-Hartley, right? Which is like, if you do a fall or a stunt on a film, or a feature, like if you look at the camera for 1 second, they call that a feature. So they give you a pay bump, and then they give you this tapped Hartley, and then you sign it, and then you basically, pay them $700 or something like that, and then you get in the SAG. So
There you go.
Well, it's an inferior union. The stagehands or the Screen Actors Guild inferior. That's okay.
Yeah, it's not IATSE, that's for sure.
We'll try to get you.
That's the IATSE's the stagehands. They're definitely inferior, but Chet, bringing you on here, you got a little project brewing right now, do you not?
I have my hands in a lot of different projects, Ron, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to talk about any of them?
Well, I was actually today inking in the new page poster.
Whoa! I haven't even seen this. That's all. Let me put my glasses on.
That's all you get to see.
Well, Chet, I'm looking for an artist for a couple of projects, so I might want to have a look at that.
Listen, he's booked for the next year. Don't worry about
it. Okay, big bank takes little bank. I'll take that.
He's busy. He's busy. He's got a lot of stuff to do. But as I think many of the viewers know, that Chet and I have collaborated on an old school adventure module called Tomb of the Ancient War King, and we have a Kickstarter getting ready to launch.
Hell yeah! Ooh,
and look there.
Ooh, okay.
So what we have here, we have some of the pre-generated character portraits. When if DMs want to run this as a one shot, the characters are right there, all fleshed out, and portraits are there. And of course, I run this at conventions. It's a great convention run game. It finishes in under 4 hours. But one of the Kickstarter levels we're going to have actually will be the miniatures for each one of those pre-generated characters, and people want to check that out. That's one of the Kickstarter levels. So that's pretty cool. And this is all Chet. When you look at this, when you write something, it's one thing. When it gets brought to life in art, it's something completely different. And Chet's really brought this thing to life on his own, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, out of Gamehole, Ron had a physical copy of the adventure that a lot of us got a chance to lay hands on and take a look. If you have not seen any of the interviews, for instance, on Wes Allen's YouTube channel, remember, if you're of a particular generation, when you bought a module back in the day, the cover was disarticulated because the map was on the inside cover in blue and white, and this model replicates that history. And so it has a very like old school authentic feel to it. So if that appeals to you, I would highly recommend you pushing that button to be notified upon launch of that Kickstarter, because it's coming soon.
Yeah, folks, and the pre-launch page where you can click the button to get notified is up on the screen right now for anybody who wants to jump in there. And I'll tell you one thing that's great about this adventure, and it's not just because I wrote it, but it really is like a quick hitting adventure. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of time wasted and a lot of lead up before you get into it. So whether you're running it as a tournament adventure or you're integrating it into your current campaign, it kicks off very quickly. And to get into it, into the tomb itself and get back out, it's constantly moving. There aren't, we need to rest for a night or anything like that. Like once you're in it, you're in it. Whether you make it out or not, that's something completely different. But it's a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun running it at some different conventions. So, anybody who's interested, please take the link there and hit the notify button. And as always, I'll speak as always. I appreciate the support, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn for Chet when I say we both really appreciate this, because this is a collaboration. This isn't just that I hired Chet as an artist. Like Chet's got skin in the game on this.
Now, Ron, as I understand it, you made some of these available for pre-order through Page, but those have all sold out, right?
Yeah, the first 100 of the first printings sold out in 36 hours.
Okay, relax.
Now, will we have some signed ones in the auction?
There will be one signed one in the auction at Page. There will be one signed one, and there could very well be even a bundle, which would be the first printing and then the second printing, which is the Kickstarter edition. We may bundle them up if we have them there in time. I know we made some pretty significant changes to the second edition version, especially to the cover. Cover's a different color, and it's branded under Orange Cat Games, which is the company that Chet and I have started. Whereas the first printing was strictly copyright me for the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo.
Last question from me is, how system dependent is this?
It's not. It'll work with any fantasy RPG. If you're a DM worth your salt, you just do the conversions real quick in your head. But if you're asking me what systems will it run well with, first edition, second edition, BXB, CMI, old school essentials, so, anything OSR, it'll run with. It's easily converted.
Probably Shadow Dark too, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely Shadow Dark.
Yep. And something that'll be interesting, and we'll see how close we get there. This is actually going to run not only as like a D&D style adventure Page, but there will also be a Castles and Crusades version of this running at Page, being run by Chuck Cumbo. And the folks from the Order of the Amber Die are going to be running Pathfinder 2E, a version of this as well.
Oh, that's pretty noteworthy, because that's not the easiest of conversions.
So, yeah, they've been working on it, and that could very well be something that might get added in later on with the Kickstarter. Like, if we decide to do a stretch goal, it might be, the event, we'll open it up where you can grab a, Pathfinder version or a Castles and Crusades version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that span of potential flexibility is also noteworthy. You don't see a lot of material in the market and where so many potential systems are covered by the product. So,
yeah, I've often said things like, Phil's heard me say this: how many fantasy role-playing games do we need? Like, how many systems do you really need? Because, at their core, how unique are you going to get with some of this stuff? And, to me, I can pick up anything, whether it be set for Tunnels and Trolls, whether it be set for RuneQuest, and easily convert it to whatever system I want to play at that time without a lot of work. So, if people need it in those other formats, great. If they don't, I think the base module speaks for itself. It's pretty easy. And let's face it, Judges Guild and Mayfair did this for years. They kind of, walked the tightrope a little bit where you could kind of grab something and run it in any system. And that's what we have here.
Let me break in here for a sec, because I was a big fan of Judges Guild when I was growing up. It seemed to me that Judges Guild kind of favored AD&D. I know that they wrote some agnostic stuff or some stuff that had conversions in the back, but it did seem to me that at least their best efforts were directed at AD&D.
Well, remember, Dimitri, Judges Guild originally had licensed AD&D product and D&D product, right? And then eventually Gary got overruled because Gary was very open to working with Judges Guild. And then Judges Guild had to go system agnostic, but they also did things for, Dragon Quest. They also did things for RuneQuest and things like that. And of course, Judges Guild put out Traveler supplements and all sorts of different things. Yeah. So Judges Guild was flexible, but you can grab that stuff. If you go back in the old Mayfair, that was another one where the product was compatible with AD&D, then suddenly it wasn't, on paper. You could, when you read through that, the difference between hit points and hits to kill. There is no difference. You just convert it in your head and you get going.
It was the TNT conversions that were a big pain in the ass. Yeah.
Well, that's Ken St. Andre's fault. We'll blame it. Chet, what do you think? You're intimately familiar with the module because you clearly went through it with a fine-tooth comb to come up with the artwork that's in there. And there's quite a bit of artwork, whether it be color on the covers or whether it be black and white illustrations inside. What's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be easily compatible to many different types of, systems, especially like Shadow Dark and that grim, dark fantasy setting. Mm-hmm. I think you can easily replace the characters if you don't want to use the pre-gens. You can easily use your own characters from your own campaign. It can be a one-shot or it could be part of an ongoing campaign easily.
Yeah, and it scales well. Like, if you want to run it for, higher level characters, like the tournament set for 4th to 6th level characters. But if you want to run it for higher level characters, then you just increase some of the difficulties is what you do, whether that be quantity or hit points or whatever.
Well, I think it's pretty deadly already, but yeah.
Well, one of the groups out at GameholeCon found that out pretty quick. There were some early deaths out there, but you know what? It's meant to be. I'll just say this without giving too much away. It's truly meant to be a 1,000-year-old tomb that no one's been in 1,000 years. So, it's dangerous. And, as a few people have commented, specifically, what you see Wes Allen, the Egg Thief, up there on the screen right now, talking about how it's got a font for old eyes. But, Alan Hammock was also commenting on that. He's like, oh, I'm so glad that this is like easy to read. It's not super tiny print. I didn't get real wordy with things. It's a dungeon. We don't need to get that deeply into a lot of the background, but it does have DM notes. It does have setups. Hey, if you're going to run this as a one shot, here's what you do. If you're going to run it as part of an ongoing campaign, then you do this. And it's really set up well for that. And I can't say enough. And, I'm sure Chet thinks I'm just buttering him up when I say this. I can't say enough. Like, how his addition to like coming on board and like being part of this, not just being a hired gun, but being part of it is what really, he brought this thing to life. And he was getting upset with me through the process because he'd send me something over and I would look at it and go, it's awesome, I love it. And then he'd go, well, any critical feedback, anything? I'd say, no, I love it, just go with it. Because he's the artist. I can put down what I think it should look like, but ultimately the artist brings it to life. And if it's a little different than what I had in mind, but still works, awesome. We can change the words. And for example, if you look up on the screen here, you see the fourth pre-gen in this Delilah DeAndrea, the half elf with the short hair. She had long hair when it was written, and the priestess sitting next to her had short hair, and they kind of got reversed in the mix. But all we did is I just changed the descriptions in the book because I really liked the way the stuff came out with Chet. And Chet, do you want to talk about some of the other stuff that you're going to be doing, for some of the Kickstarter levels?
Sure. We're doing an isometric map of the dungeon. It'll have a little bit of artwork included into the map setup. That'll be one of the stretch goals. So you'll have the opportunity as a dungeon master to have that to get a better in-depth look at the dungeon. We're also going to have like the old school illustrated areas illustrated. So each room, as you go through the encounters, will have an illustration that the dungeon master can show to the players as they're going through. So it helps immersify the characters or the players even more. You mentioned the minis already. Obviously, we've talked about that.
Right. And when Chet says it's going to have illustrations, it's going to have an old school tournament style illustration book, which I think, anybody familiar with Tomb of Horrors or Expedition to the Barrier Peaks and things like that. It's that's one of the options you can buy into in the Kickstarter. And then, it's going to have a very cool 28 millimeter dungeon floor plans for each area that you can kind of build on one another, which, Chet is a great artist, but I'll tell you, he's also an outstanding cartographer. And, that's going to be an awesome thing too. So, all in, you can have the miniatures, you can have the floor plans that lay out, you can have the illustration book, you can have an 11 by 17, isometric poster map. And then, of course, you have the adventure itself. So, we're going to have a lot of cool things related to it.
And if your name is Leo, you're going to want the actual illustrated map as a collectible. It's already been hinted at.
Does Leo hint? Does Leo hint, or does he just say?
He just says usually. Dimitri, actually, I wanted to work you in here. So this being, Ron and Chet's first foray into this, do you have any advice for them on how to get the word out, make this a success? I mean,
Ron knows everybody, so I'm probably going to ask Ron how to do it. That's the thing about it. Hitting the bricks is the only way to get the word out. And most cons I see Ron already, it's pretty crazy. So, he's doing a lot of the work. The big cons, you can move some mountains, but I always have faith in the smaller cons because you can always find somebody who's a potential evangelist, right? And you go to a con like North Texas, and you talk to somebody, and they just love what you're doing. They love you. They you ran a game for them, and they're just in your bullpen now. They're sitting there wanting to do work for you. There's tons of people out there who just want to support. That's their comfort zone. So like I've discovered people like that at smaller cons, and I ask them to do me favors. Hey, can you get the word out for this? Can you go move this over here? And they will do that, because they're happy to do it. So yeah, that would be my advice, is just, there's the big cons, but there are some really good experiences that you can have at the little cons that can help you get the word out even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dimitri, about the smaller cons, especially like North Texas. Bad Mike and Gary Oliver do a great job.
Yeah.
And it's because of cons like that I actually have gotten a better reach. The smaller cons like Rising Phoenix, Total Con,
right,
North Texas. These have been really good cons for me as an artist, and also for me having accessibility and to be able to meet some of these people that have been in the industry, like Alan Hammock and Frank Mentzer and other guys like that. And I agree 100%.
Yeah, and like I said, you can't really quantify the passion that people have for going to small cons. Like the Long Con down there in Texas. Texas has got a really great con scene going on down there. I just can't make it down there too often. But up here in Wisconsin, we're saturated. We've got tons of cons happening every month.
Yeah. When I was at West End, our marketing budget was any con we could drive to, which at one point, located in northeastern Pennsylvania, included the Gamma Trade Show down in New Orleans, 24-hour drive.
Well, let me just say, West End did a great job marketing, because they were my favorite company within a matter of months.
Well, thank you. We always figured that every person we reached at a small con represented about 6 players that we would probably get. So there were times we were hitting cons twice a month, with a staff of basically 4 people who would go to conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And then at TSR, it was the same, only in big thing. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. TSR didn't do just the big shows. We would send people to anywhere. Within a month of me being at TSR, I was already starting to go to conventions. Little 500 to 1,000 person conventions sometimes, which again for TSR was small.
It was stinky,
but yeah, we would do those things and just would go run games and talk about stuff. I think one of the things that would be great for Ron is if we can get some of these. I mean, we get people from what I think it was like 47 different states came to Page last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all 50 this year.
Yeah, so if we can get people to take home some of this and go run it at their local shows, because we can't put Ron in a box and stick him in every convention.
Well, you can stick him in a corner, though.
You can stick him in a box.
Listen, I mean, I've kind of already laid out there what conventions I'm going to next year, and I don't go to them all, but I do have the ones I do go to. I like to have a good time there and spend time with people, and I'm really happiest in that environment. So, that's a great thing about going to conventions. Now, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit, because we have a couple of announcements that we'd like to make, and the first one is we have an important announcement about pickles that we're going to get to in a little bit here. And I'm going to jump over to that update in just a second. But more importantly, a good friend of the convention, somebody who's been in the industry for a long time, and he's actually been a guest at the first 2 pages, and he'll be there this year for the 3rd time. And that's really only a small handful of guests. All right. Yeah. Quit with the private chat, guys. Settle down. But we Matt Ballant, and I often like to introduce Matt as maybe you haven't heard of him, but you definitely have some of his books, things he's written in your game collection. And Matt was with Palladium Books for many, many years. He wrote the compendiums of weapons and armor and castles and things like that. Those great books that we all have in our collections.
Ninjas, my favorite.
Yeah, he also did. He also wrote things like Valley of the Pharaohs, and he was a longtime editor there. Probably has credits in almost every Palladium book going way back. He got hit with a double whammy, and shoot over this real quick. So what's happened here is that he was working, and he was working for a place, and he had a contract for specific projects, and the project got nixed. So he lost his medical benefits, but he lost his medical benefits shortly after being diagnosed with kidney cancer. So he's got to go on Cobra, which is going to cost him just under $6,000. I know it says there on the screen he's trying to raise $3,500, but he needs $6,000 is what he needs. And I guess GoFundMe just kind of suggests you start low and then it builds up the target number, and it keeps building it up, which I didn't realize until a recent GoFundMe campaign that we had backed for somebody else. I saw it doing that. But
so does it have to hit the goal to get that full amount?
No.
Okay.
No.
So,
go ahead.
One of the things that's interesting that we should know about GoFundMe is one of the things it does is it has you set a goal, and then if you meet that goal, it automatically actually bumps the goal up. The person doesn't do that, so it continues to increase to help the person. So hopefully we can help get this up over the 3.5 goal, and then it will escalate to something.
Yeah, he needs $6,000. It's $5,927 is the cost of his Cobra.
And Cobra is no joke.
No, and he needs it, and he only needs to pay for it for 2 months because he gets to go on Medicare. But it's at 2 months it's going to kill him, and it's not like he can say, "Well, I just won't go to the doctor those 2 months." No, he needs to go to the doctor during those 2 months because he's in active treatment. So, if you were at the first page, we put Matt on a panel with people like Jeff D. and Frank Menser and Steve Marsh, and it was, the panel was called The Early Days of RPGs, and we added again last year. We added a few people. Matt was again on it, but so many people were you hear those other names, everybody knows those folks, but Matt Ballant, the amazing thing was at that panel, he had some of the most in-depth insights about the early days of RPGs because he's been around forever. He goes back to the Detroit Metro Gamers days, WinterCon and things like that. He's also been very generous to our auctions over, the first couple of years. He managed to pull some real doozy of items out of his archives and bring them in. So, though we were happy to pitch in and support on this, unfortunately, we've had a lot of people who've needed money from the fund this year, from around the gaming industry. So we can't fund the whole thing ourselves. It's just not there right now. But with everybody's help, we're hoping we can get Matt through this tough time and just, kind of, fill the gap between, the couple months he's got Cobra until he can get his Medicare. So, if anybody can do anything there, I'm going to post the link to the GoFundMe in the chat, and there we go. Even if you can give $10, we get enough people giving 10, 20, $30, it adds up fast, and we'll get him to where he needs to be. And let me tell you, the guy is one of the nicest people I've met in the industry. He really is a good guy. So
Yeah, no doubt. And I just pulled up Matt's schedule for page 3. Not only do we have Matt on the early days of the RPG industry seminar panel, but also History of Palladium Books is a new panel that we're going to be running this year that Matt will be a part of, along with Kevin Ciambieta, who will be joining us as well. And so we want to make sure that Matt has the ability to join us for that panel, because I'm not sure if a panel like that has ever really gone off on another con. Perhaps, maybe. It's almost a rhetorical question, but nonetheless, my guess is a panel such as that with both Matt and Kevin being on there is something that is a bit of a needle in a haystack. So if you are someone who has a sincere interest in the history of RPGs and wants to know the history of one of the quintessential early companies of the space, you're going to want to go to that panel. And in order to get that panel up and running, we need to have Matt healthy. And so we need this to be funded so we can get Matt there. In addition, he's running 3 sessions of his Valley of Pharaohs system. There are still seats available. So if you want to run a completely unique RPG system, there's a newer edition that was funded a few years ago. Matt will be there selling physical copies of that. I bought one myself last year.
Quickly on that.
Yeah.
Something I was proud of when you talk about small conventions and connections you can make there. He used Jeff D to do the cover art for Valley of the Pharaohs, and that only came about because he and Jeff spoke about it at page 1, and Jeff ended up getting the contract. From what I understand, he really wanted Chet to do it, but Chet wasn't hustling enough. He got out hustled. So, Chet, did you trim your beard there?
I did. Yes, I did. Wow,
okay.
Ron, you noticed. Okay.
Yes.
My wife didn't even notice.
Well, that's a given. They only notice when the money's not in the bank account.
Yeah.
So everybody, please, the GoFundMe is there. Please help us raise some money here for Matt, and give him a little comfort best we can. And if this had happened 3 months from now, it wouldn't be a problem. We would have replenished our gamer assistance program that unfortunately was depleted this year through so many tragic circumstances. Just really, it's why we have the money. We have the money to give it out to folks, but then we get hit with something like this at the end of the year. And, Matt's been good to the convention. He's one of us, and, let's support him the best we can. Right now,
something we've been talking about at Page is trying to figure out ways to help replenish that program. Obviously, it's all off donations and from Page and from the auction and all that sort of thing. We've been talking about ideas, but we're totally happy to hear any ideas from the crowd. Anybody who can think of things we can do in between conventions to help raise some money. I don't want to necessarily go out with some of the things we've been talking about because I don't want to.
I've got an idea.
Yeah, sure.
Well, with your next batch of money, start a payday loan service.
So like charging
charges
interest
more
on the
probably.
loans and then send Ron out to break legs.
That's right. You know,
No,
hey, I
we-
used to do skip chasing too. So you know.
Yeah,
You
no,
can
no,
hire
I'm not in. Yeah, I'm not interested in getting into predatory lending. But
Yeah.
you know,
Always an
but
option.
yeah, listen, yeah, crime is an option too. So, but you know, it's there. Let's help Matt. It looks like we're up to 27.95 now, and you know, that's still not halfway to where it needs to be. So let's do what we can do for him. All right, folks. I appreciate it in advance. And now we're going to switch over to a person that we all know. If we're ready.
Pickles.
No, but we're going to talk about Erica
Oh,
Lowe's Ragnarborg Kickstarter. Who wants to start here? Because we all know her. And the knower is the lover. So
I'll start with something. I mean, she got to see her not only on our show, but out at Game Hall, where she had a wonderful display with nice little Viking thing. And people were very excited about this. I mean, if you're not familiar with the Borg system, it's very straightforward, pretty simple. This book is going to be, you know, if Borg has gotten any criticism, it's mostly been sometimes the books are a little bit more fun to look at than they are necessarily to read. This is going to be very clear, you know, very fun, you know, game to play. That's my pitch right there. And of course, you know, as you say, she's a wonderful person and easy to talk to about her game.
yeah, and you know what a good person, and you know it's amazing. I you know, Phil and I have talked about this, but every year we've managed to pick out a special guest or two or three where Paige is their first time being a special guest. Right? It was Heather Ashcraft, and you know previously, and now Ronan Wong, correct? And you know we kind of picked out Erica early on in the process this year, and I remember reaching out to her and said, "Hey, you know, we'd like to have you as a special guest at Paige." And she said, "Well, I've never been a special guest anywhere before." And we were like, "Well, there's a first time for everything." You know, all signs point to nothing but straight up and towards success for her. Her Kickstarter right now, with 5 days left, is 648 backers, and she's got $58,000, almost $59,000 pledged. And you know, it's a nice system. She's passionate about the system, and you know, so if you're looking for something cool, something a little different, you know, jump in there and find out what Yay Violence is all about.
Yeah, and I'll just also add the artwork. I don't know if the cover artist is doing all of the artwork in the interior. Probably not. Usually to mix it up a little bit. And I've known Erica for a couple of years, and all of the things are true that everyone's saying. She's just such a nice person. But the artist, I got to meet him this summer at Gen Con, and also a fantastic guy. I really, you can see on the Kickstarter page there, the cover art on the upper right hand corner where it says Ragnarborg, that red and white there. Immediately when I saw that, if anyone is, and maybe Dimitri, maybe you'll recognize this, I said that immediately reminds me of Dragon Age Origins, like the cover.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that popped into my head, and he didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh my God, you're totally right." Like I said, as soon as I saw it, I said, "Dragon Age Origins." That's exactly what I thought of. That red and that white, and I said that really, really pops. It's a fantastic decision that you made artistically for that color combination for the cover of the book.
Great pick out. And I worked at Obsidian as well.
Now, Phil, don't gush too much. Chet's right here. He's right here.
Well, when I said that, he shook his head because he knew what I was talking about.
I'm not jealous of other artists. I mean, awesome work, man. It's killer.
Are you sure? I mean, are you jealous that Jeff Easley is Chris Arneson's biological father?
Well, he didn't find out until much later in life because they had to have the paternity tests. So it's rather new for them anyway. So it was kind of nice when I was at EggCon seeing the father and son bonding. They met as friends, and then they found out they were related shortly after. So
they even eat the same. When we went to eat with as a group, like to see the two of them go at their salads, like just absolutely shoveling those things down like you wouldn't believe.
So the artists all went out to dinner a couple times, and Jeff ordered this giant salad and ate the entire thing. And I'm talking, this was like a family-sized salad.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. I was out with the artists. I was hanging out with the artists. Yes.
Yeah, we tolerated him.
Yeah, that's right. I paid the bill, so it was okay.
Yeah, there you go.
You're always welcome if you pay.
You know, didn't we go out to eat another day there too? We went downtown and we got lunch.
Yeah, don't even go there.
We went downtown for lunch.
Don't go there.
And there were some leftovers.
Anyway, yeah. So Erica's done a great Kickstarter.
Hold on, putting up the X for the X card.
No, I don't want to hear that story again.
Ron likes to beat a dead horse. I'm just letting everybody know that if they don't know Ron, when Ron finds out some detail about you, he will beat it down in you over and over and over again.
Listen, things are always funniest when they contain a strong element of the truth.
Yep. Like Phil used to get beat up by his sister all the time. I only learned that because Ron told me all the time.
She beat him about the head and torso with a hairdryer, and then broke his hand when he tried to retaliate.
Not totally true. Mostly true.
You know, I was raised around girls too, so I'm familiar with the story.
Yeah. And you can see how much of a hair I need to dry anymore at this point in my life. But when I was in high school, it was a different story. So everybody on the stream that has hair still, you know, I've got choice words.
Don't ever let your hair dryer get taken by Phil.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we've got so just to put this back up on the screen, and thanks Wes for the kind words. Did you steal anything out of her purse when you saw her at Gamehole Con, Wes? No. Okay. So
she didn't have any eggs.
Yeah, there were no eggs. She's eggless. That's a terrible thing to say.
Wow.
All right, so we're going to
ouch.
Yes. So here we go. We've got the Kickstarter up here, and we're going to give everybody a last chance to kind of jump in on that. And look at that, some money just came in on the Kickstarter. So who wants to admit in the crowd that they just spent some money on the Kickstarter from this? Anybody? No. So we're going to get away from this, and we'll have Erica back on after her Kickstarter's over. Do we want?
Assuming she's not rich and famous and won't come see us anymore.
Oh yeah, well, I suspect she will. But do we want to go to talk a little bit about Wardens of the Eastern Marches, or do we want a Pickles update?
I'd like to talk about Wardens because I actually have to log off fairly soon. I'm getting up real early for a long drive.
Okay. All right. So anybody who's listening, just know Ed won't be home for the next couple days because he's going on a long drive. So
I got this one. I'm a really good second story man.
Okay.
I got this.
All right. So we organized play. We were all at Gamehole Con. We all saw what was going on with Wardens of the Eastern Marches there, and it's Alex Kammer, Gamehole Con's leaders, brainchild, and putting a lot into it. And it didn't take a lot of convincing at Gamehole Con a year ago to convince Phil and I that we should jump on board with this program for Page. But we're doing it a little more tactically, and we're running several tables of it, and we want to talk a little bit about when I say we, Phil, we want to talk a little bit about Wardens and what makes it different as an organized play program.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure most of you out there are aware of what organized play is. It's been around for a long, long time. And so Alex's goal here was to not only bring back the older feel to organized play, perhaps that maybe some were involved with in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 2000s, but to put a different spin on it. And so, I GM 2 sessions out there. And I'm sort of in charge of what's going on here with the Page Warden stuff. So when I got out to Gamehole, I really wanted to see how this was all flowing. So I spent a significant amount of time in the area there, just watching and observing and seeing what was going on and how things were all unfolding. And so to give you, to everyone, a sense here, either on the stream or out there, folks watching live or that are going to catch this program later, the crux of the situation is that not only do you create a character and that's going to follow you to other adventures, but you can see the six emblems or symbols here on the screen, and those represent the 6 alliances that are contained within the campaign world. And so every character that's created will choose an alliance. So whether you use the word alliance here in this program, it's used alliance, or perhaps other people would use the word faction or what have you.
Is it a guild, Phil?
The word alliance is the one of choice for them. But nonetheless, they represent things like guilds or faction, what have you, that you normally see in other campaign worlds. And you're going to choose one. And as you run into adventures, there's going to be adventure goals and there's going to be alliance goals that you are going to be working toward. And as you level up or choose to not level up, and that's an interesting other quirk as well, every time you finish an adventure, you can choose a level up or you can choose a not level up. But regardless, if you've achieved the mission of your alliance, you get an alliance reward. And so you can kind of accumulate power in other ways other than the level. And that was very unique.
You also get, much like older organized play things, you get what's called certs.
Correct. Yeah. And certs are literally in this program a physical representation of an item. At Wardens, it was a card with a magical item on it or what have you. And maybe Ed's digging around there. Maybe he has a couple of them to put up on camera. Potions and scrolls or what have you, and that you would use. So additionally, on top of that, they had and I'm going to put in quotes here, a shop. So as you acquired gold throughout your adventures, there were shop hours that you could go to physically acquire more certs through the spending of your gold that you've accumulated in the adventure. So there was a lot of moving parts to it that made it extremely interactive. Now, some people might say, well, that's an additional level of record keeping or what have you. But I can tell you the players that I GM'd for, and maybe Ed can say the same thing, were really excited about that level of integration or intimacy, if you will, with the program, the interactivity.
they give each player a basically a campaign log,
Correct.
and you basically every game you play, you fill out like one line. It's not hard at all, and then you get a survey sent to your email, and you get if you're a GM, you get a QR code where you basically get to answer a couple of questions. Like in the adventure I ran, it was like, did you kill this particular NPC, or did you accomplish this particular goal? So there were 2 questions that I could answer simply by scanning it with my phone. So it took almost no time at all. It was very easy.
Seconds.
And also, as a DM, you level up as well. So Phil, you didn't actually play a game, right?
I didn't. No.
Neither did I. I am going to play at Page, but I'll be able to start with a level 2 character because I ran 2 games.
Right. Yep.
Or level 3 character.
Yeah.
Sorry. Math hard.
Yeah, and we are going to be running the 3 of the adventures that were out at Gamehole Con. We are only going to be the second convention that has this program offered. So this is brand spanking new, and I know the initial feedback that Alex has gotten and the Gamehole staff in general has gotten, it's been very, very, very positive. I asked my players, I said candidly, what did you think not only of the adventure, but of how the program is being run? Because I personally wanted to know for Page reasons, and everything was extremely positive. And so I think this is really something that a lot of work has been put into. I would also, if you're out there in the crowd, not only we still have seats, they're starting to fill up, quite honestly. I'm looking at the TTE offerings right now.
Ron just posted the thing, and everyone has some seats taken, but not all.
Yeah, some seats are taken.
50% of the seats are taken.
Right. And we really want to have Wardens be a smashing success at Page. And so it is 5e D&D, although it is a little looser in character generation. There's a lot of additional sources that you can choose from. It's not just WotC products that are approved. There are Ghostfire Gaming products. There's some Kobold Press products that you can choose for character creation. And so it's a little bit freer and more trusting, perhaps.
And
then
if you that reminds me, we should also get them the Wardens of the Eastern Marches players guide, which I'm going to look up right now.
Yeah. So Gamehole Publishing, if you go to gameholepublishing.com, they have a Wardens of the Eastern Marches section, and you can download the journal, the Wardens Journal, the Player's Guide, to give you some more background on the program. And we really would like to make sure that this is as much of a success as we possibly can make it. And so if you're interested, go to that website, or if you're interested in more questions on how it's going to unfold on Page, hit myself up on the Discord or on Facebook, or my email address, phil@phillygamingexpo.com, and I'll get your questions answered.
So I have a question right now, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, let me just interject this one thing.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You don't have to create a character ahead of time if you don't want to. They will have pre-gens, but you can. And all right, go ahead, Chet.
Is this something that's going to be run at other cons besides Gamehole and Page?
I believe that that's the intent. Alex has expressed to us that other conventions, a number of other conventions, have reached out to him with interest, but that he is going to be selective in where it goes.
But we got on board first, so we get it first.
Yeah.
Now, Phil, I know you mentioned that the events ran at Gamehole Con.
Yes.
And we have some of the events that ran at Gamehole Con. I heard a rumor today.
Have you now?
I heard a rumor today that one of the season 2 events could premiere at Page.
Uh-oh. That sounds like That sounds like some pretty exciting news.
I mean, do you know anything about that?
I may have heard that same rumor.
Okay. So, I'm going to be, stay tuned on that. And, we're going to keep the story going. And every week we're going to talk a little bit more about Wardens of the Eastern Marches moving forward on the program. So we want people to understand that it's not just your run-of-the-mill organized play program. It's different, and it's got dedicated leadership who want to make it better. And they want to make it better strictly for the purposes of making it better. It's not as if, it's not a profit center for some
Corporation. Yeah.
There's stuff you can buy, but other than getting a ticket to the game, you don't need to buy anything.
Yeah, but looking at those prices, I don't, like I said, it's not a profit center, right?
And by the way, Alex Kammer is one of our special guests, and I believe some of the other Wardens team members are going to be out there too. I know they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to get the premier experience here, and like there were, dozens, if not hundreds, of people playing in a game hole. It's going to be a much more concentrated thing at Page. So you're going to have a really good chance of interacting with the people who actually wrote it and invented it and everything.
Correct. And you're going to have, if when we get that first run event out there, that's going to be a big deal. Anybody who was involved in Living City back in the day, which, to me was the most successful organized play program ever on a convention level. Anybody who was involved in that, you know how big of a deal it is when a convention has a first run game. So check it out. The link's up there on the page, up there on the screen, and now we're going to bounce over to something else that we're going to have a regular update on. So there's been
I'm going to sign off here.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody have a great Halloween and a great weekend. Thanks, all.
You too, Ed.
Thank you, Chet. Thank you.
Now.
Appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for
Ed
signing
Stark, King of the North.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, Paige.
All right. So there's been a lot of, I've received a petition, basically looking for some relief for Pickles. For those of you who don't know who Pickles is a Boston Terrier who came to Page 2 and proceeded to poop on the floor in the game hall in the overnight gaming hall. And then the owner of the dog, Matt Archibald, stepped in it and ground it into the carpet there. As a result, Pickles has been banned because we were going to ban Matt Archibald, but Matt actually runs games. So if Pickles ran games, and Matt would be out, but because Matt runs games and Pickles doesn't, we banned Pickles. And we've received heartfelt emails and letters. As I said, there's a large petition. And I want to say that I have carefully and, really looked deep into my heart in considering Pickles' situation. And I want everybody to know that I've heard your pleas for mercy for Pickles. And with that being said, Pickles is still banned. So no, there will be no Pickles appearance at Page 3. Now, I will say this, and I mean it this time. I know last time I said some things to help Stan raise some money. But if Matt Ballant reaches his goal, which is $5,927, that's the goal. That's exactly how much money he needs. We will remove the banning. And not only will we do that, but we will allow Pickles to come to the convention as a special guest, and Pickles will get her own section of cheesesteak at the special guest and staff cheesesteak dinner. So if you want to see Pickles at Page, let's help Matt Ballant overcome his medical bills here. Okay. Otherwise, Pickles will have tears in her eyes and not be a Page.
I don't mean to start a conspiracy theory, but I think Pickles was framed.
No. Pickles, I witnessed the droppings exit the body and hit the floor.
So you saw him about to step into the poop, and you didn't.
And I said, "Don't step there. There's dog poop on the floor." And he said, "What?" And he walked forward and he trampled through the dog poop. Yes.
Let the poopy hit the floor. Let the poopy hit the floor.
That's right.
I mean, there hasn't been anything that outrageous at a convention since out at EggCon when there was an incident out there. Chet is still traumatized, and perhaps one day we'll bring him on the program and have him face his fears and talk us through it. What happened to him out there?
I still need counseling. Every time I open a refrigerator.
So this is not the first poop-related situation?
No, but I owe my life to John Johnson. If you guys know who John Johnson is, he saved my life at EggCon.
You know, if he had known that intervention would have saved you, he wouldn't have intervened.
No, he just happened to be walking out of the bathroom at the right time.
Right time, right place.
God. I'm getting sick to my stomach.
There were no hair dryers involved, though.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
There
really
was
good.
there appeared to be the potential for some physical violence against men in your instance as well, but Chet's like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Moving on.
Don't get demonetized.
Exactly.
All right. Well, listen, Dimitri and Chet, thanks for coming on with us. Phil, do you have anything you want to go over before we close it out? I think we're pretty good, right?
Yeah, just that there's lots of great events. There's still a couple events sliding in that you really, really, really want to be digging deep into the schedule. If you feel like you've gone through the schedule and you found everything you could possibly find to interest you, I will guarantee that you have not, because we are leaking really great little diamonds in the rough into that schedule still, and you want to be in there digging through that sucker and fleshing out your schedule, because there are some, like, I'll go in there and I'll say, oh my God, I can't believe there's still tickets for this. This is crazy. Like, an opportunity for folks to play. And if you've been disappointed because there's a game that's been sold out and you're like, oh man, like, I really wanted to get into that game with that one particular game master, what have you, please go back into the event schedule and take another look and look into via game master, via game system, via time, to when you have availability, and take a look at that, because we're tweaking the schedule. We're scheduling games. We've got the capacity to add more stuff. We have been. You want to be checking that out. There's lots of great stuff there to be had. And additionally, because of that, you want to be spreading the word about bringing your friends to Page, getting your gaming buddies to Page, and having them come in and join us. When you can talk to people like Dimitri, you can talk to people like Chet, you can meet folks. I said to Ron earlier, I think it was earlier today on the phone, we were talking, I said, what other place, I mean, maybe Gary Con, are you going to have a concentration of so many industry folks, special guest industry folks, all in one place with such a small, like 2,000 plus attendees coming there to be able to interact with these folks, to have a face-to-face conversation, to be able to play in one of their games, to be able to get their autograph, to be able to, say how much you appreciate their work or what have you. It is a really, really, really fantastic opportunity. I just don't think there's another space out there where you're going to be able to do that. Yes, other concept special guests, but we are bursting at the seams with opportunity for our attendees to interact with industry folks that mean a lot to you. So get that share button out there, get those likes up on the videos, YouTube, Facebook, and get your badge to page, because you're going to miss out. The FOMO will be real on the 19th of January when you see all the pics going up on social media. You say, oh, damn it, I should have gone. I know I talked about it. I didn't do it. Damn it. Well, now you got to wait another year.
That's right. And, we can tell you too that there's some domino effects that happen when some new games come in. They're shifting from existing games to new games. That opens up seats. But there's still going to be events added from Monte Cook Games coming up soon. Now, Dimitri, I don't want to jinx you here, but you and I had a little talk about something related to vendors. Have you heard any news on that on your end?
It's a slowly developing thing, but yeah, I do need to kick that. I need to bump that topic again.
Yeah, you need to cattle prod Rick is what you need to do.
Yeah, that's happening.
Okay. All right. Now, Chet wanted to give a shout out to his beard barber.
I did this myself.
Okay.
I'm cheap that way. No, I wanted to do a shout out to Matt Roberts. A lot of people know Matt Roberts from Ye Old School Tavern up in Middleborough, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Matt is also well known for doing 70s type vintage posters for a lot of the different conventions that raise a lot of money for charity. And I just want to wish him a happy birthday. His birthday just passed. I also wanted to mention upcoming birthday for Frank Menser. He's turning 75, so I'm sure he would love to have a shout out about that.
Yeah, I saw his post earlier. Looks like he's organizing a dinner.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a FOMO on that. Yeah.
Did you mention Matt Roberts?
Matt Roberts, yeah.
Did you mention Matt Roberts?
No, Oh, yeah, Matt Roberts. Happy birthday, Matt.
Whoop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what is that?
That's a rough draft.
Whoa, I recognize
rough
that art.
draft.
That guy does covers for North Texas.
Yep. Yeah, he just did one for Gen Con, too, that raised several $1,000s, too, for their charity. Yep. And that obviously is the rough draft for the one for Paige.
Good stuff.
Chet, did you want to, real quick before we go, talk a little bit about some of the art stuff that you've been working on for the charity auction collectively with other artists or on your own or whatever you're doing there?
So, first of all, there will be a number of pieces from the Tomb of the Ancient Moor King that'll be available that I'm going to frame up and have in the auction. So if people
I have to fight for art from the adventure.
Definitely, yeah. You don't pay me, so I might as well get some money that way. No.
Whoa. Who was the first one to say, hey, go buy a roll cage for the new van?
So anyway, we're also working on a collaborative art board that'll have a lot of the different artists who are attending Page as special guests and as artists. And they're all working on a small section. It's similar to the one that's done for Gary Con and some other cons. So that'll be a nice piece to bid on if you'd like to have a little bit of art. from people like Jeff D, Chris Arneson, Matthew Stewart, and a lot of other great artists, and then me.
Is there any word about Chris hyphenating his last name to Arneson easily? Or yeah,
You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
Now, Chet, I do have a couple other things before we go.
You're not going to show that AI art.
I want to. No, I don't show the AI. We're anti-AI at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. I've got this one fly I just cannot get out of here. I don't know if it's one fly or if it's like subsequent generations of flies, but the thing annoys me at night in here when I'm working.
I see you, Leo.
Is Leo in the chat? Oh, there he is.
I see you, buddy.
Well, that's good. So Chet, I wanted you to tell the audience what was going on in this photo here. I got to find it. Hold on. I wasn't prepared for this.
We're on the edge of our seats with excitement.
Well, you should be.
Oh, it was really cool seeing you, Dimitri, by the way. Thanks for coming on.
Hey,
what is your next con, Dimitri?
Page, apparently.
Oh, Page. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't plan for PAX, and there are some cons happening in the Wisconsin area, so I might be able to, just kind of sleaze my way in. We'll see how it goes. Look at
Kayla.
Very nice.
Yeah, Kayla is a trip. So for people who know, Kayla is one of the hostess. She works at the Evolve at the Lake Geneva Spa and Resort at GaryCon. She came out to Gamehole to visit some of us, and she was having a very good time.
I've got a picture from her. Let's see. Can you? How do I share into this? So yeah, she's from the hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, there's my daddy.
Who's
Alan Hammock, the man.
Yeah, what's he looking at there, Chet?
Yeah, he's looking at a cool module. He was judging the artwork. He was admiring the fine print that he could actually read in the ancient tomb of the ancient Moor King. Yep, Stefano.
Of course, he's going to be with us at Gamehole Con too, or at Page as well. So yeah, no, there was a lot of good stuff going on out there. A lot of cool Page related stuff. But the final thing I want to say here before we say goodbye to our guests is, Phil touched base on how there are some games still left with space in them. And one of those games is a Meryl Rasmussen game. You see Chet with Meryl here. You guys kind of look alike, Chet. That's pretty. But don't miss the opportunity. If you haven't picked all your tickets yet, to get into a game with Meryl Rasmussen as the administrator. Like, just don't do that. So
he's definitely a superstar in my book. I mean, I love the guy,
and he gets into full character, and he just doesn't hold back.
The administrator,
nice, awesome, Dimitri. That's awesome.
Yeah. He's always been really, really kind to me, and we've worked together actually on a project. He's a fantastic guy. He's got a great heart. He reminds me a lot. I mean, he's just, all the old school guys are great. I mean, I love him.
There's the White Wizard himself, Frank Mentor.
There he is. Gosh.
I'm trying to figure out. I just noticed this. What is Michelle Doolin doing to me in this picture?
I think she's biting your ear off.
I think she is biting me. I think she's biting me.
She's licking your hair.
She was in a mood that night. I remember. She was definitely in a mood.
Oh, jeez.
Boy, howdy.
That's Photoshop courtesy of Matt Roberts. If people aren't familiar, that's from Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites.
Ah, yeah, Dimitri.
That. Good gravy.
Getting some hugs from Lawrence, Law Dog.
You know, he's my perennial roommate. You know, whenever we don't have anybody to room with, we just end up in the same room together somehow.
Oh, that's cool. You got Jerry Rad.
And the girls.
And Tiffany Nichols.
They're so great. I had lunch with Tiffany today. She's just such a gem.
Oh, awesome. She's such a great person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She autographed a book and gave it to me, and when I came back from EggCon, my wife immediately stole it from me, so I haven't been able to even read it. Prolific author. Both of them are prolific authors.
They're such hard workers that they put me to shame because I'm such a lazy bum. I really hate it. I mean, they really do kick some serious butt, and they never take any breaks.
Yeah, that's been my takeaways from talking to Tiffany and being aware of how prolific she is. It's demoralizing yet encouraging at the same time.
Yeah. Well, they certainly set a standard, you know, and it's great.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, I would happily be second place to them.
Yeah. Very prolific.
All right. Well, Dimitri, you want to leave us with anything before we sign off?
Yeah. So by the time page rolls around, I should have my my autobiography, or at least the beginnings of an autobiography, laid down. My dad was a history professor, and he said the way that Ulysses S. Grant funded his retirement was you write memoirs every year. So I look for Confessions of a Gonzo Gamer to come out at page 3, and I'll be selling that in the vending room and talking about it. So look for that.
All right.
I look forward to it.
All right. And Chet, you have anything you want to say before we go off into the night here?
I would say check out our Kickstarter, get onto the link and sign up so you can be notified when it launches. It's going to be an exciting adventure, and it's only the beginning of the collaboration between Ron and myself and the birth of Orange Cat Games.
Huh. All right. And with that, we'll leave you all to your evening. We do not know who the guests are next week as of this time, but we will soon announce that. But we can tell you on the 14th of November, we will be joined by the one, the only Professor Dungeon Master. So that ought to be a fun show.
Yep, indeed. Always a good time chatting with him.
Look, Chris Clark has joined us.
Good night, Christopher Clark, wherever you are.
Yeah, he's here. He's joined us, and big news about Christopher Clark this week too, huh? Everybody see that?
I saw. If you're talking about a particular post, yes.
Yes. So that
acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement is whatever you want to call it. That situation is cleaned up, and we're happy to hear that because you know what, Chris is one of the good guys in the industry, and
big time.
You know, the only thing I'm concerned about is now the value on the 3 copies I have of Cataract is going to drop. I had thought I had 3% of what was going to be out there. Now, there's going to be 200,000 copies on the market. That's no good.
Well, Chris, when you come out to Page, you should bring Jeremy Wilson with you because he's an absolute blast. He does a great job with Intercity Games as well as Chris. I would love to see him out there.
Who's that?
Jeremy Wilson?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a legend at North Texas and other great shows. He is one of the contributors who works with Chris on different projects at Chris.
Was he at Game Holes Con?
He missed it this year.
Yeah, he did not go this year.
All right.
Jeremy is an incredible person. He's one of those people that I was telling you about who, you see them at a few cons, they become an evangelist of yours, and then they just support. But Jeremy is also a creator as well. He showed me a really amazing one-page RPG that he created at the first Texas RPG con that I went to. And I thought it was brilliant, and I can't wait to see his next iteration on it. But it's fantastic.
Here's Chris checking in. He works primarily for himself and works for me on several projects. Okay, well, bring him and leave that common law son-in-law yours home. There you go.
Bring the hockey arena with you this time. Chris, that adventure is awesome.
Love the hockey arena.
Listen,
hooligans, hookers, it has it all. It's true inner city games, totally.
Like they said in The Godfather, bring the daughter, leave the son-in-law. So, all right, we're gonna let everybody go before we get demonetized. So have a good night, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
Bye now.